Hey guys, let's talk about season 3 finale of Homeland. And I have mixed feelings about this finale. It definitely felt like this season we were trying to give Brody the redemption story arc. And how can we find a way to allow him to do some good before, we technically get rid of him? And of course, nobody knew if the writers were actually going to go there, if they were going to kill Brody off this season because they refused to do it in last season. But kill him is what they did. And I felt like kind of cheated. Like I felt like the payoff for his death, wasn't as overwhelming as I think it would have been if they had done it in the second season. They had a couple of opportunities where they could have taken him out in season 2. And I think that the show would have just exceeded everyone's expectations if they had done it in season 2. Doing it now, I felt, and after giving him this journey of, wanting to do what he could to, I guess, clear his name. I guess he wasn't really trying to clear his name, but this was like the last minute mission he was going to go on. He ultimately ended up killing Akbari, and, him and Carrie are running around like, how are we going to get me out of here? But the bigger question, which was on my mind, was what was going to happen next. And Brody even said that to Carrie. What's going to happen next? Yes, he finds out that Carrie's carrying his child, which was like, okay, here we go. But really, what was going to happen next for them? Like, he wasn't going to go back on American soil and people were going to embrace him with open arms. It just wasn't going to happen. So you ultimately had to kill Brody. You had to do it because there was no other storyline that he could go through. So to watch this journey of them, trying to make it seem like he died with honor, and, Carrie asking for his star to be put up on the wall next to all these other people, soldiers who have lost their lives fighting for their country. I was like, Carrie, really, you need to stand down on that. And then her, basically putting the star on the wall herself in invisible marker was just like, whatever. I'm sorry, but if you were going to make Brody a terrorist and have him like basically activate this vest that he was wearing in season 1, you cannot just then write him that, in this story arc this season and have me anyway believe that that's enough to get him off the hook for it. I'm sorry, it wasn't. I sure there were some really great intense moments. Those first 10 minutes were really cool. How was he going to get out of the office? I mean, I thought he kind of got out of there pretty easily, to be honest. But, Javadi walking out and kind of exiting in the car, and then him following not too long after, and then holding the guy at gunpoint. All that was great. Really riveting television. Carrie meeting up with him, not sure if he was being followed because Saul put a little bit of doubt in her mind. All that kind of stuff was good. Them meeting in the safe house, I guess, was their only quiet moment in the episode to sort of really say goodbye to one another without each other knowing that was going to be their final scene together. So fine, that worked. She told him that she was going to have his baby, and of course he was like, this is the one thing that we can hold on to, and whatever. Her trying to get that last phone call into before she finds out that he's about to get executed and hung in front of everybody. I'm glad that they didn't have their I love yous to one another. This storyline between the two of them, I'm sorry, to me never felt like love. It was like the two of you did what you needed to do in season 1 to get the information, to find out who was lying, who was telling the truth. Brody basically manipulated her, had her like institutionalized, like fried her brain out because she thought she was crazy when she wasn't. And all of a sudden they have this love child together. I was just not buying it this season. I'm sorry, Homeland writers. It just didn't work for me. So I felt like, Javadi talking to Carrie, having this long monologue with her about how the whole reason she did this season was so that we could all see who Brody was, and now we see Brody through your eyes. I was like, really? I mean, it was so heavy-handed. I was like rolling my eyes through the whole scene, and that is obviously not what the writers wanted. It just did not work for me. And to have Javadi, of all people, how does Javadi know Carrie? Javadi doesn't know Carrie. He doesn't know what she thinks she feels. I mean, come on. Like, it was just so far out of left field. I was like, what? It made no sense to me at all. At the end of the day, Carrie is now done. It's like 4 months later. She's 8 months pregnant. Lockhart is in control. He's in charge, and he puts her on some mission now to, I think, Istanbul, where she's going to be doing this work. I'm like, but she's 8 months pregnant. Like, where's the leave coming in? Where is it going? Her dad, who's like almost 100 years old, is willing to take care of her baby. I don't know, guys. The latter part of this season, like of this episode, was kind of a bore. Once they killed Brody, which, okay, to be fair, was a sad scene. It was, to see him strung up on there, watching Carrie gallop up on the fence and call out his name. Sure, that was touching and everything. But then the latter part of the episode was kind of like, ho-hum. They didn't really set up any kind of drama for next season. We know that she's going to be off working this operation on the ground out there. How is she going to do that with her baby? I don't know. Saul's out. Quinn is smoking at a car, telling Carrie, I have a kid and I made a mistake not taking care of her. You shouldn't make the same mistake I did. I mean, guys, I don't know. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but it definitely wasn't the kind of finale I was hoping for. I mean, the death of Brody, I think, is the only way the show could go, and I'm not mad that they did it. I just thought that it would have had way more bang for its buck if they had done it in season 2, when everybody was like not going to be anticipating his death. But now it's kind of like, well, yeah, what else can you do with this man? He can't live on American soil. He's just going to go and end up in another prison. Who wants to watch that all over again? Nobody. So all in all, this season was a very, very rough season. I mean, we spent episodes on storylines and plot developments that had nothing to do in the latter portion of this season. I mean, all that stuff with Dana, all that stuff with her boyfriend was worthless to the end of the season. It had no impact whatsoever in how the last 4 or 5 episodes ended up, when we could have been spending that time developing Akbari, showing him for this heinous criminal, the horrible things that he's done, the atrocities that he's done in his country, why he's this #1 villain. But we saw him in one episode and they killed him in that very same episode. I mean, come on, that's poor writing. I'm so sorry, but we could have seen Javadi, working his way into this criminal underground world, and just the fact that Akbari was always going to be this threat, that he would have sold his soul to the CIA to take him out. I mean, come on, guys, you could have done so much better. But it was like this Brody Carrie love story that, to me, had no business in a show that was so riveting and so on the edge of your seat, because you had no idea who was telling the truth, who was lying, who's the mole. Well, that's it for me, guys. I will be back for next season, of course, because I always want to watch good TV. After this season, though, they've got a lot of making up to do. So somebody made a comment and asked me if I would do a review of of what I thought my predictions might be for the next season of Homeland. So I will do a video, and I'll give you what I hope and maybe predict that they'll do for next season. All right, guys, that's it for me. I hope you have a great holiday, and I will see you, I guess, when Homeland returns in season 4. Bye.